From the Sunmark Federal Credit Union Content Studio, this is the Sunmark 360 with Glen Stacey.
I hope you're doing well. Welcome to the Sunmark Content Studio and the Sunmark 360. Sunmark Federal Credit Union has announced 2 executive promotions as Sunmark prepares for growth in 2018. Yesterday, we told you about Tony LeBron. Today, we're excited to announce that Alissa Sykes has been promoted to Senior Vice President Chief Lending Officer. Alissa has been with Sunmark for 12 years and has been honored as a top woman to watch, presented to influential, forward-thinking women reshaping the future of the credit union community. In addition, she has been recognized as a credit union rock star, an honor given to credit union professionals for their outstanding innovations, service, and achievements. Alissa worked in banking from an early age, but she didn't realize that accepting a job at Sunmark would be the changing point in her career.
So when I was growing up, I actually wanted to be in accounting. Going through high school, I was fortunate enough to do a lot of job shadowing. They still had those opportunities in high school, and I went out to a couple businesses near my high school and I went into their accounting department, and I really loved numbers. Math was definitely a strong suit for me, so it was really attractive, but I noticed that it was a very structured business, and I have a really outgoing personality, and I wasn't really sure that I was going to end up liking that. And then I was afforded to actually go and shadow at a bank. And so I went in and I went and I shadowed the teller line. And I loved it. I loved that it was still the math aspect of it, but I got to help people. And so that interaction for me, from that right then and there, I knew that I wanted to be in the financial industry. And so as soon as I graduated high school, I started as a teller at a local bank. And it was a learning experience that I say again, if I go back to my core of how I was raised, is just put your head down and work and learn. I never at that point in my life envisioned myself as like an executive or a CEO. And I think as I've evolved as a person and as an employee of a company and really started to evolve on a mature level, I always set those goals. I don't know if I was so young and immature that I didn't even think it was an option. And I would say, I guess I always aspired to be a manager because it happened pretty quickly at a young age. But from there, I never, probably until the last 5 to 10 years, did I say to myself, you know what, I would make a really good executive.
So how did your early banking career actually lead you to Sunmark?
So 12 years ago, I was recruited and asked to come in to start a mortgage department. And I came in for the interview, and I remember being a little bit burnt out on the bank retail side of it for mortgage banking, because at that time in space at banks, it was all about profit more than the consumer, the member. And I started to have a difficult time with that because, again, if you think back to when I first was brought into this business, it was because I wanted to help people. And when that was kind of transitioning to, it was about how much can you make off this person versus about what product is best for them, I realized that wasn't my path anymore. And so it was kind of a perfect storm when I came into Sunmark, and their vision and their passion was all about the member. And we always do right by the member first. I could see it from the moment I walked in here for my interview that this really fit my core being of who I was.
What advice would you give others that hope to one day lead their organization?
I think far too often I see in a lot of employees is that they're looking for someone to give them the path of their future. And you're never gonna move forward or succeed if you're waiting for someone else to do it for you. I see it time and time again. I have been a manager since a young age. I was literally 19 and I was a branch manager. So I have managed people for a long time. And it seems to be more prominent now than ever with some of the younger generation coming up. They're smart, they're talented, but they don't always want to put in the work that's necessary for it. And they're waiting for you to show them the path. And I always go back in a coaching moment and just say, I was told at a young age, Sunmark doesn't owe me anything. I have to do whatever I'm doing for myself personally.
So Alissa, how does this sound to you? Senior Vice President, Chief Lending Officer at Sunmark Federal Credit Union.
Yeah. Wow. Never, I'm telling you, that's what's never, since I was a little girl, did I think that was ever possible. And it is. So I'm proud of it. I have no plans on stopping there. Unfortunately, it's just who I am. But I'm proud and I'm excited that I have the opportunity to be an executive at Sunmark and to be a part of the growth and the change that's coming to help our members out. I'm really excited. I started as a teller, and really you can do that. And as long as you are dedicated and you work hard, it can happen. And so I'm always happy to kind of look at that. It's humbling that I had that experience and that someone else can have it too.
If a young woman or a young man walked up to you and said, Alissa, what's the secret sauce to success? What would you tell them?
If I've learned anything over my 20-year banking career, it's don't let anybody predict your future. Don't let anybody but yourself predict the outcome of your career. And just if you can stay that path, you will be successful. Easier said than done, I'm well aware of that, but just regroup, refocus, and get yourself back on your own track. And you'll be so much happier and end in such a better place than leaving it to anyone else. You control your own destiny, and that is so true.
In her new position, Alissa will be overseeing all lending for Sunmark, including consumer, business, mortgage, and collections, as well as Sunmark Card Services. And that's a wrap for this edition of the Sunmark 360. We'll see you next time. Don't forget to follow Sunmark and the Sunmark 360 on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube.